y'all hear enough from CEO Coach Mike. So I'm gonna go ahead and move out the way because our special guest, she's on. I am so super impressed about the amount of production that she's able to push out when it comes to these apartments. I mean, if I feel like every Wednesday and during our finance meeting, I'm getting a text from her like, hey, did this invoice come in? Did that invoice come in? So like, look, I got my notepad out because I need to know what Bree is over there doing when it comes to these apartments. I gotta, whatever her technique and her system is, we gotta know it. So I'm so grateful and thankful that she's willing to share, that she came on today to be our presenter for today's training and just offer to us. She didn't have to do it. There's a lot of people that keep all the secrets to themselves, but she's not one of those people. So she's not gonna hold back, and she's gonna give us the information. But again, just so very impressed with what she's done in here and being a part of Brooks and Davis. So without further ado, I want to bring to the stage phenomenal and amazing Miss Bria Craig. All right, Bria, it's all yours.
Good afternoon. My name's Bria Craig. I've been a licensed realtor for the past 2 years. Just a little background, I've been doing apartment locating since I've been licensed here in Texas. And I'll just give you guys just some background knowledge on exactly what's apartment locating, how you can earn 6 figures from home while doing so, as well as some tips, tricks, and techniques that I used to be successful in apartment locating. So give me a second, I'll share my screen so this PowerPoint can pull up. So. Okay. Can everybody see my screen?
Absolutely.
Yes, okay.
Yes.
All right, so apartment locating. So we'll talk about earning 6 figures from home here in Texas. So just a few things that we'll go over. I'll talk about what is apartment locating, steps to apartment locating, how you will generate your own leads, the software that I use to have access to all of the apartments here in the state of Texas. We'll talk about invoicing, commission, and then I'll open the floor for any questions you all may have, and I'll try my best to answer them as detailed as possible. Okay. So what is apartment locating? So apartment locators are real estate agents, we the people. So instead of helping clients find listings to buy or sell homes, we help our clients find listings to rent, in particular apartments. While we usually do call ourselves apartment locators, it doesn't stop at just apartment complexes. We can help find single family homes, townhomes, as well as condos for rent. Apartment locating is something that is new in the industry. It's not talked about real often. They have less than 10,000 apartment locators in the entire United States. So that will let you know that it is something that's growing in the real estate industry, and it is a new niche that people are starting to fall into. So the process is pretty easy. Apartment locators, we do give free services to renters. As we get our commission from the landlords or the property management company. The money we get only comes once our client has signed a lease and moved into the complex. So the first step will be finding your prospects. Once you find your prospects and you get into detail the information that they're looking for, you will start your apartment search. Once you start your apartment search, we come down to an agreement, they move in, and then it's payday. So a little in regards to the process. So me personally, and I'll talk a little about that once I get to generating leads. I do like to generate my own leads. Of course, I have leads that come in from referrals, but a lot of my leads, I do my own marketing. Social media is really helpful when it comes to marketing for these apartments. I have my own Instagram tailored exactly to apartment locating. the database that we will speak on, apartment data, they already have all of the information you need to know about each complex in the entire state of Texas. They have photos that's professionally taken. You have pricing, you have any specials. It tells you what year the property is built. It tells you who the property manager is. You have access to their contact information as well, so you can reach out to them directly. Apartment data allows you to know what's the commission. Usually it will tell you what's the payout. I do like to confirm what's the payout. It's usually between 30 and 90 days. I do have some complexes that pay you out as soon as 2 weeks. That just depends on the management company. It also tells you how many units the property has. So you will have all of the details you need to know about a specific complex, as well as any promotions that they may have, as well as promotions they may have for paying out. So for instance, the normal apartment will pay about 50 to 100% commission. So 50 to 100% of that individual one bedroom apartment with a budget of no more than $2,700. If that client signs a lease for that $2,700 and they move in, you just made $2,700. So imagine having 10 clients in a month with that rate. You've made over $10,000 in 1 month. The process is really, really quick. As long as you build that relationship with your clients, make sure you're doing it for them and not yourself. So even if I have clients that have a budget of $2,700, I don't like to hit that peak. I do like to stay within a regional budget, but still give them everything that they're telling me they're looking for. And we'll talk more into detail when we move on to apartment data. We'll do like a mock, show you how apartment data works and how you can get all of that information. So lead generation. So the two out of the 3 main ways that I generate my leads is through social media and referrals. There are some lead generation softwares that you can pay for. Me personally, I don't feel like that's necessary. I get my most leads honestly from Facebook Marketplace. Marketplace will generate you 100+ leads a day. So let me give you an example. So you have access to all of these properties in Texas, but you don't want to market every single property in order to generate leads. So when I go on apartment data, and I'll show you how I do that. When I go on apartment data, I will find 3 different types of properties. I'll find a luxury high rise, I'll find an affordable mid rise, and then I'll find an average garden style apartment. All 3 of these apartments, I'll make sure have some type of move-in special that's going on. And of course, apartment data will let you know if they have any specials. I will take the pictures and the information from those 3 complexes and I'll post it on Facebook Market. Now, one thing about generating leads and grasping the attention of someone, you don't want to give too much information. So of course you want it to catch their eye. So of course it'll say luxury high rise, downtown Houston, starting at $1,300. That'll catch the eye of someone. That's how you get a lead. Now your job as a locator is to transition that lead to a prospect. Once you transition that lead to a prospect, then you want to transition them into a client. So once you have that individual, hey, I want to know if this is still available. My first thing is, yes, it's available. How soon are you moving? How soon are you looking to move in? So I do decipher my leads based on a sense of urgency. If I have a client that's looking to move in 2 weeks, and then I have another client that's looking to move in 30 to 60 days, my first priority is that client that's looking to move in within that 2-week period. I'm following up with them daily. I'm fact finding, hey, what it is you're looking for. Always get as much details as possible, because when you go into apartment data, the more details, the easier it is to search. So you want to know, what area are you looking to live in? Are you looking to live in Southwest? Are you looking to move in Galleria, Westheimer? And apartment data breaks down every segment of Houston. Are you trying to stay within the inner loop? Do you want to live within the outer loop? I ask my clients, are you able to pass the background? Do you have anything on your credit, any past rental debts? It's okay to ask those questions, because you have some complexes that accept that and some don't. And again, the more information you have, the easier it is to navigate through the thousands of apartments that's online and get them the best fit. I do like to dig a little deeper when I'm fact finding. Are you looking for something that's a high rise? Do you want a mid rise? Does luxury matter to you? Do you want something with washer and dryer, something without? So get as much details as possible. And once we go through apartment data, I'll show you why. Social media, besides Facebook Marketplace, Instagram, it's good to get your name out. You won't really get too many leads off Instagram, but you'll definitely get the profile views. You'll definitely get individuals inboxing you just to, ask questions, things like that. But majority of my leads honestly do come from Facebook Market, as well as previous clients that I've worked with. Once their lease is up, if they're not looking to renew, they'll reach back out to me. I've had clients give my information to other individuals who will reach back out to me. I do like to stretch the concept of following up. So when you have someone reach out to you that they, of course, respond within the first hour to two. I have templates that are generated on my computer, and I also have them in my phone notes. So if I have someone contact me on Facebook or anything like that, I can just copy and paste a response just to let them know I'm active. With apartment locating, because it is something that's growing, it's all in what locator responds first. Because believe it or not, they've probably talked to you and 3 or 4 other realtors. They're just trying to see who's responding as the quickest. So it is a competition when it comes to that. So you need to make sure that you're always available. Even if you have to create like a separate Google Voice app on your phone, just so it can separate messages and things like that. You do want to be able to respond within that first 1 to 2 hours initially when you have someone reach out to you when it comes to your leads. So apartment data. It is an online software. Once you get ready to start launching your apartment locator business, it is a $50 fee. Now, it is a one-time $50 fee. It's not yearly. It's not monthly. Once you pay that $50, you do not have to pay it again, but it does give you access to the entire database. So 3 or 4 of the things that apartment data is good for, it gives you access to the apartment information you can trust. So apartment data, they call these complexes once a month to update the information. So all of the information is accurate. It offers rentals, which lets you know that you get paid. So when you click on apartment complex on apartment data, it'll either say no locators, or it'll have 50%, 100%, or a flat rate. So that lets you know what your commission is. The highest commission I've seen at a complex would be 150% or $5,600, just dependent on the rate. So you can have 150% of an individual's base rent or $5,600 for that one lease. It keeps up with the latest incentives and discounts, and it enhances your marketing with the state-of-the-art ILS, which is inventory locator services. So that's photos, just information about the property, square footage, prices per unit, and things of that nature. So I'm going to exit out of this and go to apartment data, just so you can see the software. So once you go into apartment data, this is the main page. Once you're looking to get logged in, you do need to call this 800 number. You will call that 800 number, let them know, hey, I'm trying to create an account, and they will set you up. It takes about 24 to 48 hours to get your account active, but once it's active, you are good to go. Apartment data does ask for your brokerage information, as well as your cell phone and your email, and that's for invoice purposes. So we're going to go in and log into my software so you guys can get an idea of how it looks. So any of your leads that you have will be on the forefront, okay? So these are clients that I've had that's already moved in, but anyone that you put into the system will be on the forefront. I do have mine set up to the most recent access, so it is an order from the last time I've contacted them. So say you have a client that's looking, you've already converted them from a lead to a prospect, and you're getting ready to put their information into apartment data. you're gonna go to add and register your client. So we're gonna click on that. We're just gonna give them a name. Okay. Make sure you get all of their contact information. In order to put them in a system, apartment data only asks for the email. However, I do like to get some type of contact rather than email. I do like to get a cell phone number because the contact is just quicker. So just to put them in a system. And you'll submit. Now, if you look at the top of the screen, it says conflict warning. That lets you know that they have this person in the system from another locator. So it will let you know if your client spoke to someone else and they've already been entered into apartment data. So it lets you know you had an agent from Houston list his name 47 days ago. They had an agent in Dallas list his name 65 days ago, and they had an agent that's not named 89 days ago. So it lets you know that this name has been put into the system 3 times. So if you scroll down, you'll type in a cell phone number, definitely get that. Sometimes individuals don't like to give you their number at the first point of contact. But as the conversation progresses, you do want to get that. So I like to put in when they are looking to move in. We're just going to say December 1st. I leave the start looking blank, the start looking section blank. Requirements. So you're going to put everything that they're looking for. So number of bedrooms, 2 bedrooms, their price range. Do they have pets? If they're looking for washer and dryer, the area of town. I don't like to ask if they have children. I may ask how many individuals will be living in a household, or things like that, just for space. Or I'll just say, if you have kids, are you looking to be in a certain school district? Are you looking to have your child at a certain school? Because I do have clients that say, hey, I'm looking to move, but I want my child to stay within their school. So you do have to make sure that you're looking within the district of that school. So qualified information, I do like to pre-qualify. So I ask for rental history. I do ask if you have any previous evictions or broken leases. Just to help with the search, no co-signers, and if they have any criminal background. I don't get into details when it comes to like background, but I do ask, do you have a background that may have some discrepancies in it? Because again, it does hinder the search. So now you're going to click next. And it'll take you to this screen where you create a prospect list. So we're going to create our list. And based on the information that's needed, I like to do the search tool. Unless it's a specific apartment that my client is interested in, I'll do an apartment search and give them more details. I'll stop right there for a second so you can see this banner that's at the top of the screen. So when you're on apartment data, they have what's called locator extras. So these are specials and incentives for apartment locators that these complexes put on to get you to lease at their apartment. So Park at Memorial is a Great Star company. They have a special of 125% on 12-month leases if you have a client that moves in immediately. So you'll get 125% commission off their lease if you get a client to move in with immediately. That's usually within 2 weeks. So you'll see this banner change a lot, and it's just incentives to, get you to have clients come to their property. So now we're going to click the search tool. So you click on the search tool. I like to search by map area. Okay. So if you look at the center, step 1, it breaks down Houston, central, southwest, northwest, northeast, and southeast. So you'll click what area of town your client is looking for. You may have some individuals that's new to Houston and they're not sure of the area. So I do like to say, can you give me the zip code that your employer is with? Have you ever traveled to Houston? Are you interested in staying near the city? Do you want to stay on the outskirts and things like that? If someone does give you a zip code, you can search apartments by zip code. You can search by region. You can actually click on the map. If someone's like, I want to stay between 290 and Highway 6, you can literally go on the map, click a map area between 290 and Highway 6 and find apartment complexes in the area. So I'll go back to map area and we're going to click on Post Oak. So we're gonna go right here. So bedrooms, you're gonna click 2 bedrooms, price range, we're gonna stop at $1,700. I do like to go $100 up. No pets, bathrooms, doesn't matter. If your client's looking for something in particular, like a townhome, an apartment with a den, a loft, or a sunroom, you can click that and they'll narrow the search down as well. So we're looking for something with wash and dryer in unit. Exterior amenities, if you do have a client that's looking for an apartment that has a tennis court, a playground, hot tub, you can click those exterior amenities. If they want fireplaces, furnished apartments, if a balcony or patios is important to them, you can click on those as well. So now you're gonna go down. Right here, if you only wanna work with complexes that only pay 100% commission and up, you can click on 100%. I don't like to go no less than 50% with commission. So I usually leave it blank and I'll just narrow my search down. If you have a client that has an eviction, you'll click eviction. If you have a client that has bankruptcies, you'll click that. Foreclosures, anything of that nature, you can click. If they don't have any credit, if they don't have any rental history, if they think they'll need a co-signer, if they're looking for a corporate unit, if they want an apartment for less than 3 months. So you can literally narrow it down to a T based on the information that they give you. And that's why it's so important to get as much information as possible. Now, if you have a client that says, I might have something on my background, the most I'll ask is it a felony or is it a misdemeanor? Because that does matter. So if they have a felony, you can click felon. If they have a misdemeanor, you can click that as well, just to help you narrow the search down, okay? It also works with individuals that's looking for housing, HUD, Section 8, if they have vouchers, income restrictions, what are units, properties that are income-based, properties that don't have electricity bills that's separate, no water bills, and things of that nature. Year built, you may have clients that say, I don't want to stay anywhere that's not built past 2000, that's built past 2015, before 2015. You can click on that. So you can change the date. So we'll do a property that's no older than 2015. Okay. If they want a small property, a large property. So you get the idea, it goes really, really detailed. So then we'll click search. So in the area she's looking for, there's only 3 properties with a 2-bedroom within $1,800 range. You have Pearl 2111, the flats at West Alabama, and Arrive Upper Kirby. So if you see this highlighted portion, this is your commission. So Pearl 2111, they do commission from 50% to 100%. So if you have a lease 6 to 11 months, you will get paid 50% commission. If it's a 12-month lease, it's 100. The same with the flats as well as Arrive. Those are both 100%. It tells you the management company. So because I've been doing this for 2 years, you start to learn these management companies. So Greystar, they don't pay out until 90 days. That's something you may want to know if you're looking for like a quick return. Just know Greystar Properties is 90 days. Morgan Group, they pay out within 2 weeks to 30 days. You can call a property manager to confirm, but because I've been doing this for a while, I kind of know what management companies do what. If you have a client that doesn't have proof of income, just a little pointer, Camden communities do not require income. So if you have a client that's like, I just moved here, I have the money in my account, but I can't provide like check stubs, try to send them to a Camden community because they do not require income verification. That's something to look into. If you have a client that's looking for evictions, Madero Residential, they accept evictions. You have Abbey Residential, they accept evictions as less as 12 months. So that's something that you can look for. Sometimes apartment data doesn't go in too much depth when it comes to evictions, but that's just something that I've picked up. So you can click on the property. We'll click on Pearl 2111. And as you can see, they have professional photos of the property that you can right click and save and use that for marketing. So you don't have to worry about going, yes. Evan?
Oh, yes. Hey, real quick. I noticed you've mentioned felony background, eviction and so forth. My question is, if someone has that like in the last 30 days, give or take, and how do you approach that conversation with that individual? Or is that something you avoid or something? I don't know. Yes.
So I don't avoid those type of questions. I do like to be as open as possible. Because I've worked in property management for over 10 years, I do know the ins and outs to an apartment complex. So that kind of gives me like an advantage when it comes to apartment locating. So as far as evictions, so evictions, when it's filed, it may show up on your credit as a pending case. It may not. It just depends on the software that the community uses. However, once an eviction judgment is granted, that individual has 30 days before it shows up on their credit. Now, I will send my client to a property that does not do rental verification. So again, that's just more so getting used to management companies. Like for instance, RPM, Roscoe Property Management, they do not do rental verifications. So as
Now,
long as they,
when you click on the system and you say they have an eviction, does it eliminate and give you just those apartments that don't do that search?
So it'll give you complexes that allows evictions, but the only thing with apartment data, it won't go into detail like that. But also know because I've worked in an apartment complex, you know? So if y'all want to write that down. So if you have a client, I definitely will, because you won't get that information on apartment data. Yeah, so you'll definitely have to call. So I do like to go on apartment data and find what they're looking for. But okay, for instance, Pearl 2111, they say they have 2 bedrooms within $1,800. I will leave apartment data. I will type in Pearl 2111's property and I'll go on their website, because no one's as accurate as that apartment's actual website. Not Apartment List, not apartments.com. Go on their website and the rates and the availability is updated on a daily basis. So use apartment data just to get an idea of what complexes fits your client. But then you have to go the extra step to go on the website, give the apartment a call and find out the exact availability. Just so you're not giving them misleading information. So if your client does, like for instance, have an eviction, I would definitely, if it's within that 30-day mark, I'll send them to a complex that doesn't do rental verifications. Now, don't call the office and say, hey, I'm an apartment locator, my client has an eviction, do y'all do rental? Don't do that. I'll call, say, hey, my name's Bria, I'm an apartment locator, I have a client that's interested in this, and this. Can you give me some information? Once they give me that information, I will get their email and send over a guest card. So as soon as you contact that company, send a guest card over. That guest cards let them know that they are using a locator. So that's step 1 into getting paid. Send a guest card when your client tours. Whether they sign the lease that day or not, always send that guest card.
When you say guest card, where do we get cards?
So you create your own. Let me see if I have one.
Hold on, because I don't want to redirect the conversation, Evans. We got a section for questions. So let Bria go ahead and get through the presentation. And I know we're gonna have enough time for everybody to get their questions answered. So let's just get through the presentation and then you guys can get all your questions answered. It could be more of a panel discussion or something like that. All right.
Okay.
Go ahead, Bria.
Okay. So when you click on the property's name, they will have professional photos already in the system. You can right click if you're on your cell phone, you can right click, you can save them into your camera roll. If you're on your desktop, you can right click, save them onto your computer, and you can use it for all marketing. You can use it to market the property on Facebook Marketplace. You can use them to market on Instagram. The good thing about being an apartment locator, if you go into the property and you want to get content, they will give you access to the units to do videos and anything that you may need for yourself and your marketing. They'll give you keys, they'll direct you to the units, they'll let you do videos and things of that nature. It's also good to build a good rapport with the leasing agents on the floor because they will look out for you. I like to go in, I will go to properties that I work with a lot. I'll bring in treats for the leasing agents. I'll bring in my business cards, let them know who I am. Sometimes I'll talk to leasing agents and say, hey, if you have someone that doesn't qualify, send them to me. Things of that nature. And once you build that relationship, they'll contact you and say, hey, we just had someone that didn't qualify over here. I'll email you over their information. So that's how you have to, go out there and get your clients. So these are all the photos for that property. We're gonna go back. Okay, so the address is located on here, 2119 Westheimer. They give you the office phone as well as the fax number. They let you know the year it was built as well as the management company. Now, if you click on contact property, it will give you the property manager's email address and you can copy and paste that, email them directly. The guest card, once your client shows interest, it lets you know policies and amenities that they allow pets. Deposits are around $300. The app fees is $75. Admin is $250. So it gives you all of that information. They let you know that clients, once they move in, tenants have to obtain renter's insurance. What elementary school is in the area, what middle school, and what's high school. Okay. It's 215 units. It has 5 floors. Your property manager is Julia King. Again, the highlighted area is how much you will get paid for commission. Normally, someone's looking to sign a 12-month lease. So with this property, you'll get paid 100% on your locator fees. So with that being said, right here is their floor plans. Okay. So if your client's looking for a 2-bedroom, and they lease here, the 2 bedrooms are, the cheapest one is $1,784. Getting paid 100%, you will get paid $1,784. Once that payment comes in, minus your brokerage fees, that's what you will get paid. So that's how the commission works with that. So say your client likes this property, you're going to add it to favorites. Click OK. And go back. Okay. So you're going to click up here and view your favorites. Oh, it's not on there. Give me 1 second. Okay, so you're going to click and then view favorites. So now you have the property listed under one of the favorites for your client. So what you want to do is email them a prospect list. So the difference between a prospect list and a complete list. So the complete list will give you all of the property's name. So the address and the property name. You don't want that. Sometimes you have individuals that inquire about a property just to get that information and then go do it on their own. So you email a prospect list. It's going to black out the address and it's going to black out their property name. So once you email the prospect list, it'll come to their email. It already has a message that's generated. If you want to spice it up and do your own message, you can. You'll hit send. Your client, they'll contact you, let you know, hey, I like the pictures. See if they want to set up a tour. When they go to set up a tour, you get all of their information. You call the property and set that tour up. You let the property know I'm the locator. I have a client by the name of this. They're looking for this they're looking for this unit. We went on the website. They're interested in this availability and they want to set up a tour. So once that tour is set up, that's when they'll tell you, hey, can you send over your guest card? Ask the leasing agent or the individual that you spoke with, can you let me know when my client arrives and complete their tour? Also, keep that line of communication open with your client, and let them know, hey, contact me when you're on your way, contact me when you leave, let me know how, how it was. Okay. So once you're done with apartment data, you have your clients, you've done everything, invoicing and commission. So once your client has moved in, you will generate your invoice and you will email it over to them. Invoices are generated through apartment data. Once your client moves in, let's say for instance, okay. So say your client moves into a property. I'm just gonna add a property name on here. We're gonna do Pearl. Okay, so this is the community's name. The application date will say was yesterday. I'll say my client moved in today. They moved into unit 111. You don't really have to put the bed space. It was a 12-month lease and the rent, let's say, was $1,900. The commission is 100%, okay? So once you get ready to generate your invoice, you're gonna click submit and that information is gonna show right here, okay? So you're gonna click on invoicing. It's gonna ask you to confirm that spelling is correct and you'll click okay. So as you can see, your name will pop up, your brokerage, your license number, as well as your broker and their information because the check is cut to the broker. You're gonna create your invoice. You're gonna confirm that all of the information is correct. And for the invoice amount, since it's 100%, you're gonna put $1,900 and you want all of your invoices due date to be 30 days out, okay? Submit print, and this is what your invoice will look like. You will send this invoice over to the property manager. Sometimes the complex will have an accounting department that you will send directly to the accountant. They'll send you a confirmation, let you know that it was received. If this property has never done business with Brooks and Davis, you will have to send over the W-2, okay? So you'll have to attach the invoice with the W-2 so you can be set up as a vendor. Once Brooks and Davis is set up with the vendor, you'll be good to go. On the bright side, I have worked with a lot of complexes out here. So some of them are already set up, so you won't have to worry about doing that part. But if it's your first time working with that complex, I'll just attach the W-2 just in case, and let them know, hey, if there's anything in addition that you need, let me know. Always send your invoice the day they move in. 30 days later, I'll follow up to see what's the update on the payment. And that's it with invoicing. Once you confirm, contact the property to make sure that they have received your invoice, and within 30 to 90 days, you will receive your commission from the management company. Hold on. So that's pretty much it. I'm going to open the floor for any questions. I know the process is pretty lengthy. So if you have any questions about leads or how to navigate through apartment data, feel free to ask and I can try to assist you as best as possible. You won't really get used to it until you actually, begin doing it. And once you get into it, you get your first client. If you have any questions like, hey, I'm trying to close a deal or anything like that, I'll be more than welcome to help you out with that as well.
Yeah, and look, y'all don't have to be that, like, don't feel like we're gonna run out of time. Like, we got more than enough time. This thing doesn't end to, I have it slated in at 2 o'clock. So, I mean, look, she knows what she doing. So don't leave this presentation with any questions or not knowing, because everything that she's laid out and how she set this thing up, she's really set it up for you to be highly successful, and it not taking 6 months or 12 months. Like, if you implement this stuff immediately, 30, 45 days, this thing
You'll
could,
get your first check.
absolutely. So make sure you ask questions. I know Evan's over here chomping at the bit. So I know you probably gonna be the start of it. So go ahead, buddy.
Well, you know me, I got questions. But I don't want to steal the floor for be the only one on the floor with all the questions. But I just put one in the conversation there for you. Is with the client. So because yes, I am actively dealing with the situation right now.
Mhm.
How do you prepare the client for the setting the expectations, in other words, for what they might, because what I understand, in other words, let me tell you where I'm coming from. What I
Mhm.
understand is, one, if you are renting an apartment, if you're in an apartment and you get evicted, that eviction will hit now faster than it ever did before. And all the apartments across Houston get that information. Like once you apply, in other words, like they have access to that, like once they run your name. Then the second part is if you are now evicted and you're needing to move into a place within the next 30 days, how do you deal, or how do you set that up to where like they might be either paying double, having to put a double deposit, et cetera, et cetera. Like what's happening out there? I don't know the environment at all.
Okay. Have your client already lost judgment? Had the eviction already
No,
won judgment? They
no,
haven't went to court.
no. Like they knew it was happening, and they just like a week from being, kicked out.
Going to court.
Yeah, yeah, yeah. Oh, I don't
Okay.
even know how the court. I don't even know how that works. See,
Okay.
that's what I'm saying. Like,
So when it comes to evictions, it's not on your credit until judgment is won. And once judgment is granted, it doesn't hit your credit until 30 days. Things that you have to keep in mind, you don't get hits on your credit every day of the month. You only get hits on your credit once a month. So whether it's an eviction, whether it's criminal, that's not hitting your credit instantly. Now, if your client hasn't been to court yet and judgment hasn't been granted, they don't have an eviction right now. They have suit that's proceeding. They have the eviction suit that's been proceeding, but they don't have an eviction at the moment. Their best bet would to be, they have 1 week to get an apartment, honestly. Before that, I'm gonna just be
that's
honest. And
that's what I was trying to say. Like, they literally
I
have
do
1
like to
week.
be honest. Like, I will tell my clients that you're not being realistic. I'm not gonna say like, come on, now, you're not being realistic. But in so many words, that's like if I have a client that's coming to me like, oh, I want this high-rise apartment, this, that, and the third, but I want to pay $1,000. I am going to be honest with you. I'm gonna say, now in today's market, you're not gonna find that. Do you have leeway to up your budget $400 or $500? If not, we can look into this. But I'm not gonna sell you a dream. I'm not gonna sell you a false promise, because at the end of the day, it is up to that apartment complex. And you're not gonna find that. So before you still have to navigate between good leads and bad leads. Not all leads is good leads. As far as your client that has that eviction, one or two options, they can speak to someone in the leasing office and, well, the assistant manager per se, because that is the individual that's for their eviction. They can say, hey, if I leave before my court case, can I get positive rental? A lot of times they will, because they just don't want you on their books. Or again, you can send your client to a property that doesn't do rental verifications, because that shouldn't show up on their credit until that judgment is granted. So for instance, Roscoe Property Management, they don't do rental verifications. So they won't have to worry about a paper going to the complex that they're at right now and the complex writing on them that they're under eviction. That won't be a problem because that property management company doesn't do rental verifications. Abbey Residential, another community that does not do rental verifications. So that client won't have to worry about having the property send them a paperwork saying, hey, they're under evictions. Madera Residential is another. So you'll just have to navigate through the search to see, what
Now,
complex will allow it and what won't. Now, on the flip side, when it
Mm.
comes to evictions, they may have to pay more,
right.
you know, because when it comes to like evictions and criminal backgrounds, your luxury properties really don't dig too much into your business per se to your lower class properties do. So like the luxury property is not going to dig into your finances. They're not going to dig into things of that nature. So they may have to up their budget in order to get in. Or if they know someone that'll do it in their name, they can do that. If they have someone that will be a guarantor or a co-signer for them, they can do that as well.
Now, okay, so one, just single person, if they're up in their budget, are apartments like the luxury ones, are they making them pay first month and last month? Is that what you're saying?
No, they'll
Or is
just,
every scenario different?
so when it comes to like first month, last month and things like that, you won't get that from an apartment that's under property like that. That's a property management. That would be more of a private owner. If that's not written in their rental criteria, that's against fair
Mm,
housing laws. So
I
they
got you.
can't do that.
They can't do that.
So it'll
Okay.
either be, yeah, so it'll either be we accept it or we don't. Now when it comes to like first month's rent, last month's rent, that's more so private owners. So if you want to look like
Gotcha.
on the MLS for private renters, you can.
I
But when
understand.
it comes to multifamily and property management companies, they can't say, oh, well, you have an eviction and we'll approve you if this, this, this. Now, if it comes back as a conditional approval, then it's up to the landlord's discretion. If a client gets denied, let them know that the property management company does have to send them the paperwork stating why they were denied. Now, if it's something
Gotcha.
on that they can fight, you can appeal it with the property and it can be override by the regional manager. So I am that type of apartment locator that I'm a dig and I'm a call and I'm a call corporate and I'm gonna go far, especially if I know it's something that my client can like maneuver through. And that's just from personal experience working in, you know, a leasing office, being an assistant manager. I know how the process works and I know what's allowed and what's not allowed. And a lot of times, when you're in real estate and you don't have that property management background, you don't really know what they can and can't do in a leasing office. So sometimes you just take their word, and a lot of time their word is not
Right.
accurate.
Hey, it looks like
But yeah.
it looks like we have a question from Roniel.
Thank you again.
Yes.
Hey, Miss Freya, how you doing?
Hi.
I have a couple of questions. Is that okay?
Yeah.
Okay. So the first question I have, when you first brought up the database, you had showed a list of all the houses that you had rented out previously, well, got rented. So my question is there some type of notification that lets you know when those clients' leases are up so you can see if they want to move somewhere else?
Yes.
So you can keep track of them?
Yes. So on apartment data,
Okay.
you can go in and let me see if I can go to it. It'll show you when someone lease is expiring.
Okay.
It'll say, okay, so you see this that says days till lease expires. It'll show up on there. So it'll start counting down on its own. And
okay,
then
do you set the countdown or it just does it itself?
No, the system does it itself.
And what's the dashes? Is that for like, they're over a year out?
No, so yeah, so these individuals are over a year out. If you look at the moving dates, they're, yeah. So once it gets past that 365, it'll start counting down. And then apartment data will begin to move them up on the list. So you, as long as you're like logging in, I log into my apartment data every day, but as long as you're like logging in, it'll let you know like, hey, you have a client whose lease is coming up for expiration. I do like to send out periodic follow-ups, even with individuals that's moved in. So I'll send like a 30-day follow-up after they moved into their apartment and say, hey, you know, just checking on you. Do you like everything? How's everything going? I'll do a 6-month follow-up just to see, hey, I know we 6 months in. You know, do you still like your apartment? Do you think you'll be looking to renew your lease at your 12-month mark or things like that? Just so you know, you're in their mind at this point. And then I would do a, so apartments require a 60-day notice. So 60 days prior to their lease expiring, I will send them a follow-up. And you can actually do it on here. So like, I'll look at this client, okay? If you go to edit contact, move in, I think that's it. Wait, hold on. If you click on their email address and you go to the templates, they have first follow-ups, how's it going? They have things after you move in follow-up, and then you have a recontact lease expiring follow-up. So you can literally click on the determined template and it will send to your client. So it'll say, you know, your current apartment lease will soon expire. You ready for a change of scenery? Or would you simply like to lower your rent? I can help. And it's just like a generated message you can send to them. And I'll email it to them and I'll also text them that message. And they'll respond, especially if they are looking to change. They'll respond and say, hey, you know, I thought about using you. Maybe I couldn't find your contact information. I'm glad you reached out. I'm looking for this, you know, and things like that.
Do you offer them to buy at the end, or do you just solely do another rental?
So usually at that 6 months, you may have clients that'll tell you they're interested in buying a home. Sometimes they're not ready. Sometimes they're not sure if they're settling, but around that 6-month mark, you'll know
6 months.
what it is that they're looking to do. And if you want to just bring it up a little sooner, so like within the 3-month mark, if you want to bring it up to them, you can say, are you, you know, do you know if you'll be looking to buying a home after this year? How long you plan on staying in your apartment? You can go ahead and fish for that type of information, especially once you've already built that rapport with them. Your clients definitely will be more comfortable to give you a call and start discussing those type of things.
Hey, let me jump in real quick, because I definitely feel like, and I think this will probably work wonders for your business as well, Bria, because I understand how you're trying to transition. When a person, like when they move in, what I would do, the week after they move in, like I'm doing a check-in just to say, hey, look, how's everything going with the move-in? Was it smooth? You have any questions, any issues? I would do that little check-in call with them. And then as a part of that question, I would find out. So I'm going to be in this apartment for the next 12 months. You know, do you have aspirations of buying? And if they say, well, yeah, you know, but here's my situation. I got to do this. I got to do that. At that point, I would say, all right, look, let's start working on preparing you. So now, when your lease is up in 12 months, hey, you know, we're already putting it in their mind that this is what the next 12 months is going to look like. You and I working together to make sure that 90 days before your lease is up, we're out there looking at a house and you buying a house. And I would do that for every single person that I help move into an apartment.
Okay.
What do you think about that, Bria?
I think that's a good idea.
Okay.
I have a question.
Go ahead.
So with apartment locating, do you have to go out and show like you do with houses, or is everything basically online and they can basically go on their own?
75% of my clients I have never met.
Okay, that's what I thought. That's what I wanted to know.
Yeah, I've never met. Now you do have some complexes, and it'll tell you in apartment data that'll say 100% commission for locators, escort only. So if it says escort only, you would have to be there with your client to tour.
Gotcha.
The only times I would really meet with a client to tour is if I have a client that's really, really indecisive. At that point, I take it upon myself to close the deal, because when it comes to that, of course, you're like third-handedly closing the deal, but really it's that apartment complex that made that impression. Like I've had clients that came to me and said, I really like this complex. but I'm not written here because the leasing agents were so rude.
Right.
They will mess up a deal sometimes. So especially when I have situations like that, I will call the office, or I will go into the office and I'll talk to them. I'm say, hey, like I'll talk to the property manager. Hey, I had a client, her name was this, she came, she really liked the property. However, y'all lost out on the lease because this transpired. Like, what can we do to make her situation better? Or the next time I send a client over. Especially when you're constantly given that property, customers and clients, they will do and change things for your business. So also, if I have like a property that I'm familiar with, the leasing staff not being the best, I'll show up and I'll just tour them myself. But 75% of my clients I've never met. We just talked between the computer screen or through a cell phone.
Okay, awesome. Thank you.
You're welcome. Laura? You have a question? Let me see.
Yeah, I have a few questions actually. So how far back have you gone on invoicing a property after a client has moved in and even probably moved out? Do you still invoice them or you just let it go?
So a lot of times properties do have a statute of limitations when it comes to their invoicing. So it does depend on the property management company. The longest I've been probably was like 90 days, but that was only because the property used a certain software, and you will get that as well. Some properties don't have you email their accounting department or email them. Okay, so I have this one company, United Apartment Groups. They use a software called OPS. So I had to pay for that software. I had to get it set up. And it was like 60 days after I emailed them the invoice, they confirmed the receipt, but the property never told me that in order to get paid, you had to have this software and send the invoice through the software. So after 60 days of me waiting and contacting the property, like, hey, I haven't got paid, they let me know, well, you never uploaded the invoice. I had to go through the process, so it pushed it back. So the longest I had to wait before sending the invoice was about 90 days. But sometimes properties do have like a statute of limitations on the invoicing. Also, if you have a client who goes under eviction, you cannot get paid because of that. Like if they're in the property for 60 days and they don't pay rent on time, they might not pay you. Also be mindful, and that goes back to what I was telling Evan, all business isn't good business, because sometimes if you have a client that you move into a complex and they get evicted and you've gotten paid, you gotta pay that back sometimes. Like sometimes you will get invoiced back for that money back because your client didn't fulfill that 12-month agreement. So that's the importance
So,
of definitely like.
So when would that eviction, or when would you have to pay back if they got evicted, what, 6 months in, or? Because I would understand if they
Really,
got evicted the first 3 months maybe, but if they've already been 6 months and probably 9 months and then they're gonna get evicted, I mean, you still have to pay all that back given that they still
well,
fulfill most.
it really depends, honestly, on the management company. Some management companies, they really don't care. But if you have like those really high-end complexes that you sent the client to and they get evicted within that first 12 months, sometimes they may request for that money to be paid back. And that's why, for instance, like Greystar, that's why Greystar doesn't process your invoice until after 90 days, because they want to make sure that your client at least had 90 days of good payment history prior to paying you out. When I was with an old broker, I had a client that got evicted around the 8-month mark, and I was contacted by the property manager. She informed me that my client was under eviction and that they paid me an invoice, and I did have to pay that back. Luckily, it wasn't much. So that is something to, be mindful of, not to say pick and choose for your clients, but, just pay attention to their patterns, So if you have a client that reached out to you and they're like, I have 3 broken leases and 4 evictions, I honestly probably wouldn't take that chance. I'm just being honest. I wouldn't take that chance.
What about apartment communities not wanting to pay you because they had a discrepancy where maybe they didn't, they didn't list you as the agent? A lot of the times, or what I've experienced and I'm currently experiencing, is a client has moved in, signed the lease and everything. I don't know who dropped the ball, whether it was her or the apartment community. But I do have text messages where she does ask me for my office information, where she does ask me for, information about me in order to register me. But unfortunately, the apartments have now cut me out of it. So
Out of the
what is
equation?
the like? Yeah.
Did you send over
So
a guest
what?
card?
Oh, you're breaking up, huh?
Did you send the community a guest card when your client initially went in for a tour?
I did not go in for a tour, and I did send in the client, but I did not send the community itself. And hey, my client is coming.
Okay, so when it comes to clients not listing you on the application, it's always crucial to email the property a guest card before your client submits an application, whether they tour or not, because that will be your backbone into getting paid. I've had a situation where my client didn't list me. However, I emailed the guest card. The property manager, she wasn't trying to pay me. I called corporate. I explained to corporate that I worked with this client. I do understand they didn't list me in particular on the application, but I do have contact information with the property of me talking to them about my client. Corporate asked me to forward that email. That was sufficient enough for me to get paid. Now, text messages honestly wouldn't be like valid enough. The most you can do is I'll contact corporate. I'll see if my client will type up an email to let them know, like, hey, this was my realtor. I did use her. I was a bit confused when it came to filling out my application. So I, didn't put her name on there. And they'll use, corporate is a little more lenient than the leasing office. Sometimes the leasing office, they're difficult. So when it gets to like communication not happening or they're not trying to get to pay me, I'll email corporate. Now, if corporate doesn't want to pay you, I'll file suit for non-payment of an invoice. I gave you a service. My client fulfilled that. I fulfilled that. So you can always file suit. Once they get that affidavit, they will cut you a check, I promise. Do you know what management company it is? Laura?
I think she dropped.
Okay.
Can you hear me? No, I have it on.
Okay. Do you know what property management company?
The property community is North Point Post Oak, I believe. I'm not sure if it's Greystar or not, but I'll have to double check.
Okay. If it's Greystar, you definitely is gonna have to go up. Because Greystar is hard to reason with. So you will have to go a little higher up, maybe talk to the regional or something like that. But a lot of times they don't want that trouble and they want your services. I've had friends that are locators go as far as putting a Google review if they don't pay their locators and they will contact you. Like sometimes you have to go far. It's your money. You are working for your money. And they understand that and they don't want that name on them. Especially with your luxury properties, they thrive off of apartment locators. That's why their commissions are the highest because a lot of their clients come from apartment referrals. So yeah, I'm actually going back and forth with a property since July trying to get paid. And I've reached the VP at this point, and they emailed me this morning saying that they're cutting a check on tomorrow. So you have to be persistent, and this has been going on for me. How do I get the contact information?
What has your,
So if you go on the property management's website, they will have a contact link on there. It usually has the corporate number, and it has like a leave us a comment thing. I'll type it in there and I'll call corporate, and I will click every extension and leave a message until someone contacts me back. Sometimes when you speak to the leasing agents, if you call them enough, they will just give you the regional's email. I've had that happen numerous times. If you go into the office and request that information, they'll give it to you. Okay.
Question about that guest card.
Yeah, I
Yeah.
had this question.
Do you have a format or some, you said you made your own, is that right?
Yes, I make my own guest cards. Let me see if I can find it on my Canva, just so you can get an idea of what it looks like. Okay. Okay, give me one minute.
And if I can just get it out the way by asking, is that something you can share with us where we can update it to our needs?
Yeah, definitely.
Like an email, I don't know. Yeah.
I can definitely share with y'all, no problem. And I'm pulling it up right now. Just give me 1 second. All right. Anyone else have any questions while I pull this up?
Yes, I do have a question.
Oh,
Yes.
If somebody else wanted to go, okay. Okay, so another question I had, you said that we could take the pictures off of the apartments and post it, wherever we're gonna advertise. And you
Yes.
said always post a little bit as information as possible. My question is, the pictures that you post, are they traceable back to the apartment complex? Because my biggest thing, I am not trying to be X'd out. So if the person clicks on the picture and it takes them back, then they'll be able to find the information themselves.
No, it doesn't direct them back. So it's not hyperlink. It won't hyperlink you back to the property.
Okay, and then the last question I had was, you said there were some apartments that didn't require income verification. What is their verification then?
So Camden communities, they don't do income. They just based off credit.
Just off credit? Okay.
So they basically just look at your credit. They do have a credit score requirement, but they don't.
Which is, do you know offhand?
So it depends on their property, because so with Camden, some of their properties are A class, some of their properties are B class. So it really depends. Their minimum credit score is around a 520 though. So
Yeah,
nothing more than a 520.
Okay. Nope, that's oh, and then last question is,
I didn't know you could go 520.
Yes.
I'm gonna need you to stop making jokes. Because I didn't want to take my clients to a place they was gonna get stabbed or their car was gone when they got up in the morning. I got reputation.
Oh no.
Okay. So my last question is, how do you separate yourself when you advertise on the Facebook marketplace? How do you separate yourself from the fraudulent advertisements too?
Well, one, my profile picture is there. So, I mean, it's an active Facebook page. So, I mean, even when I'm on Facebook Messenger for myself, I pay attention. I click on a profile before anything. So a lot of times that helps. Also, I don't use the generated Facebook messages because it just seems fake. So I, of course, generate my own generic messages, but you can definitely tell that it's a real person. And I'm just as open with sharing my information. So sometimes if I have a client that's like taking a long time to respond, I'll say, hey, you want to reach me by email, you want to contact my phone. Of course, I don't use my personal cell phone number. I do have 2 different phones, but because I'm sharing that information, it does make individuals know, okay, this is a real person. Sometimes I'll have clients that'll say, can you call? And a lot of times I do have people on Facebook Messenger. It's like, hey, I've been scammed with locators. Can I call you? And I'm like, yeah, sure, you could call. And I'll give my number and we'll talk on the phone, and it'll just make them feel a little more comfortable. So you do have to be open to sharing, certain types of information, because a lot of times if 3 days pass and all we're doing is talking on Facebook, that might just not seem too believable. That's one thing. I'll stop right there just for a second to share my screen with y'all so y'all can see my guest card. So this is a guest card that I had that I created myself. I do have my own locating brand, so that is my logo on there. So it just says guest card, gift to property when visiting, and I'll type in this information and send it over. I'll put my client's name, the date that I sent the guest card over to them, their phone number, their email address, what they're looking for. If they have like a floor preference, if they want to be on the top floor, if it's a high rise, the 26th floor, anything like that. If they have pets, I'll write in there. Their desired move-in date, their price range. And if I'm sending this over and my client is in the process of applying, in additional information, I'll put apply for this apartment or this unit. I'll say client has a broken lease from 2019 and the amount of things like that. So any type of crucial information that I feel the property should know, I'll just place that in like the additional information portion. And refer by, I'll put my name as well as the brokerage, and I'll send it to the property. So you want the property to get that guest card before your client even goes there, to let them know that they're working with someone. And with that guest card, if you want to open that line of communication with the leasing agent and just let them know, hey, keep me in a loop of things. And also let your client know. So a lot of times they'll contact you and say, hey, your client submitted her application. I need some additional documents. Can you have them give us a call? Or can you have them email us over these things? And also, if your client doesn't actually list you on their application, this guest card is going to help you still get paid, because it's going to be in their email inbox, so it lets them know, hey, they were referred by someone. Email address, and I also like to get one of the leasing agent email addresses, so everyone is able to see this guest card. And then I'll call to confirm once it's received. And I'll ask them in the email, hey, please see attached guest card, confirm once received. Yes. David or Tylene, I think you've been.
Yeah. Sorry if I can't really hear. Sorry if this question has been answered. I was having trouble connecting my Bluetooth, but can y'all hear me?
Yes.
Okay. What do you do if a person you referred doesn't want to put your name down as a referral after you've taken time to show them, and they just, or either they forget?
So that's what the guest card will come in on. That'll be your lead way to make sure you still get paid. Also, if you know that your client applied and forgot to add your name within that 24 hours, you can give the complex a call and say, hey, my client applied for this apartment, this unit. She just let me know that she forgot to add my name. Can you go ahead and add it in the system? They can add you on the application. Don't let them tell you that they can't. They can go, the leasing office can go in the system and add you into that. So I'll just call them within the first 24 hours because it just seems a little more realistic. Like, hey, my client just applied and they see that the application's been in there for 5 or 10 minutes. It's like, okay, so they did forget to add you in, and they'll go in and make note of it. And you'll also have that guest card to back you up as well.
Okay. All right. Thank Thank you.
You're welcome. Taylene, I'm pronouncing your name right?
Telling.
Taylene.
I know earlier you said something about a W-2.
Mm-hmm.
What is that? Where do we get it from? That's the part I didn't understand.
So the W-2, Michael, where is it? Is it on the link tree? Is that what it is?
And it's W-9, right?
Yeah, the W-9. I'm sorry.
Yeah.
It's on the
No, it's
link
all
tree.
good. Yeah, so they can get that. So when you log into your Success in Real Estate machine, the serum that's Thinkific, when you log into the Thinkific, there's a folder that says items you'll need for commissions, and the W-9 is in there.
Oh, okay.
Thanks, Bria. We got
And
you.
you only need to send that for a property that you've never worked with before. You can confirm to see if the broker is already set up as a vendor. If they're already set up as a vendor, you won't need that W-9. If the brokerage isn't set up with a vendor, you'll need to provide that and attach it to the invoice when you email it over.
I can ask my question, Bria?
Yeah.
Okay, so now what I've heard in the past from some people where they would go to a marketplace, they would do it, everything that you said do, they would do that and it would work. And then they would be flooded with all of these people. So they would get overwhelmed with managing that part of it. Have you ever experienced that where you just had a flood of people come in, and how did you handle it?
Oh yeah. I get like 1 to 2, maybe 300 leads a day. When it's too much to handle, I silence the ad. So I will silence the listing for a moment just to be to catch up, and I won't have anyone else coming in. So say I put an ad up, and with that property you get 100 or 200 leads. You can, take that ad down for the moment and work the leads that you have. Because what you don't want is keep that up, keep having these leads come in, and you're unable to respond to everyone. So once you get like a influx of leads, I'll just take it down for the moment. Try to gather some leads from there and go from there. If you want to like set yourself up with like goals for the month. So if you say I want to have 10 move-ins this month, that averages out at least $1,000, things like that. And once you get your thing, like, okay, I'm gonna start working my people that's looking to move in next month, and things like that. You can do that. You don't have to feel like you have to respond to everyone. I mean, once you reach the goal that you're looking for, you can just go on to your next. Because that'll be one thing that'll get you tied up, is being overwhelmed. And again, like I say, a lot of these individuals have spoken to apartment locators before. They're just trying to see who can find me the better apartment that I'm looking for, which apartment you showing me have the better deals, who's more attentive, things like that. So
I have another question. So you're getting that amount of volume per day, 200-300 leads. What's your process for screening, right? Like, so you're not wasting your time with somebody that's not going to materialize. When you get that, when you see those 200 leads, and even if you turn the ad off, you turn that.
So when I ask, how soon are you looking to move in? If I have a client that say, I don't know, I'm not responding. How you don't know when you want to move? You're wasting my time, okay? We all know when we want to move. If someone writes me and say, I'm trying to move in tomorrow, you're not being realistic. Something going on and you got to get out the situation. I'm not wasting my time. If I have a client that asks 110,000 questions and it's down to the point that I'm trying to get the contact information to set up a tour and they don't want to get it, I'm not responding. You wasting my time. A lot of times I do like to get your contact information after like the third back and forth. So I'll say, hey, how soon are you looking to move? You'll let me know. Are you interested in a 1, 2, or 3 bedroom? Do you know which side of town you're looking for? I'll ask those basic questions. And once I ask those basic questions, okay, in order for me to help you further, I'll need your first, your last name, your email address, and your phone number, and I'll go ahead and create a list. Once I send that, if they go to ask additional questions, I'll resend that message. And if they still asking questions, I'll start responding. I do keep full control of the conversation. If I have clients that are just extremely unrealistic and they're not taking your advice when you're telling them they're being unrealistic, I'm not responding. Is I really don't like to waste time, especially when you have so many people. Trust me, you're not missing out. You could get 10 move-ins and make $10,000. You're not missing out. So I don't waste my time dwelling in an unnecessary conversation. Oh, I don't know. If you telling me you want a 3-bedroom and next thing you know, I'll settle for a 1, that don't make sense. I'm not responding. Like it's you can catch on in a conversation if someone's serious or not. I'm not contacting you through Facebook Market, and we're gonna have this 20-page conversation through Facebook. Like if you can't give me your contact, we can't get on the phone, we can't talk about it, I can't email you. Like, no. I will throw a lead away quick. If I yeah, if I have like clients that's like they need a 2-bedroom, but they don't want to pay no more than $500 and things, that I'm not responding, because some things is just a headache. And again, we're all familiar with the market. We know what's attainable and what's not attainable. Like I'm just the middleman. I'm not the management company. I can't, wave a magic wand and make this happen for you. So if I'm telling you like, hey, unfortunately, that's not something that's attainable, but if you're looking to stay within this budget, we can do that, then, I'll move around. And I do like to ask my clients like that second conversation, and I have a script. If you guys are interested in it, I posted my email and my phone number in the chat. You can text me or email me, and I can email you guys my script that I've created.
And just send it. Hey, Bria, just email it to the office, and we can get it distributed out for you.
Okay. Yeah. So I just generated a script to just carry along the beginning of the conversation, just to make it a little easier with that. But after the third response, I know if you're serious. Right? After the third response, you know if they're serious.
That's good. Yeah, so send us that script and also send us the guest card, the example of the guest card, and we can take care of that for you.
Okay. Okay. Anyone else?
Yes, I'd like to give an update here. I was super excited. I'd like to just say thank you for doing this for all of us. This was one of my main things coming into this business. I was looking to be one of those apartment locators in Champion School. They were telling us how there's like less than the same 10,000 as you mentioned. Mm-hmm. So I've heard that repeated again. Yeah, so I was so excited. I took a snapshot of what we're doing here and what we were discussing. And before this meeting was over, and I had put it in one of my social media group chats. And yes, someone already responded, and they're like, yeah, my son needs to get out of my house next month. Please help me.
No, Evan.
So this is already paying dividends. I'd like to say thank you again for
You're
coming
welcome.
on and being part of the, I'm happy. I'm excited to be here, guys. That's all I got to say. And last but least, to everybody that doesn't know me yet, it's Evan with an S. Evans.
Thank you, Bria. That was a lot of great information. We appreciate it.
You're welcome.
Thank you so much. This was really good. But I wanted to ask you one quick question before I leave. As you can see, I'm at work. That's why I've muted it. But I wanted to find out, can you walk them through the leasing contracts and the contractual agreement? Is that something that you offer as well, or do you just locate the apartment and the rest is up to them?
Well, that's a case-by-case basis. Again, I've worked in property management for 10 years, so I do know the Texas, the TRR lease contract like the back of my hand, all 8 pages, as well as the 46 addendums that's attached. So if I do have clients that have questions and they feel like the leasing office didn't answer that for them, I do have knowledge on the lease contract. And I also, when my clients do go to sign their lease, I pinpoint certain things. So I let them know, make sure if you don't read anything, make sure you read that first page. page number 1 and page number 8. Make sure that you don't have any security deposits written on that lease that you didn't pay. Make sure that it states that you have a 10% late fee on the 4th day, because by Texas law, you can't late fee someone day to day. It has to be a one-time late fee, 10%. So make sure there's no discrepancies with that. Make sure it shows when leases due, when it's late, things of that nature. I do tell them to read about lease breakage and reletting fees that's on the first page of the lease. So it's certain things in the lease contract that a lot of people overlook that will really get you kind of in a bind once you're in. So I do like to let them know, like, hey, make sure that they go over this with you, pay attention to that. If you have questions, ask. And if it's anything in addition that you're looking for, let me know. I do have knowledge working in the leasing office, so I can assist you with that. But it is like a case by case thing. So yeah.
And again, you said, oh, I'm sorry, go ahead.
I'm sorry, can you leave your number in the chat like you said?
Yeah, I left it. I'll type it up again. Hold on. I'm typing it up. I'm about to put it in there. And just shoot me a text before you call me, because I don't answer unknown numbers. So just let me know who you are.
I will. This is Wendy. I will.
Okay. And I'll put my email address in there as well.
Thank you so much.
You're welcome.
Okay.
And
And
I took my background off just so, like, I'm going through it. Finance day. Who name I see? Who I'm invoicing out? I'm cutting checks. I gotta cut a check. She doing presentations. I gotta cut a check.
And so, Bria, you said pay attention to page 1 and 8, right?
Yes, page 1 and 8 of their lease contract.
Okay, and also I have one more question. So you're a real estate agent with Brooks and Davis.
Yes.
Were you into property management before you became an agent with Brooks and Davis?
Yes. I started with property management back in 2013.
Okay, and so then also a question, because I, being the member of recruiting, I talked to not leasing agent, property management agent. Do you think it's more, what do you like more? So you like being an agent independently of a property management company? Because some people I talk to don't want to leave the property management company. So what draw you from there to here, from property management to being a real estate agent with Brooks and Davis?
Honestly, a lot of people that's in the property management industry, one, doesn't understand that property management is a component of real estate. Right. That is something that a lot of people does not understand. Yeah. So that's the first thing. Secondly, again, when you think of real estate, you think of buying and selling. You don't understand that the same thing that you're doing in one leasing office, you can take outside and make that 10 times more. So what made me get into real estate was when I started doing my own research a few years back, and I got into researching apartment locating, and I realized how much money that you can make and how quick you can make it, opposed to buying and selling a home. Now, when I was a leasing agent, I was top leaser of my company. I outleased the company within the first 4 months. So in my mind, I'm like, if I can sit in one office, right, for people that's only interested in this one complex and make all of this money, imagine if I stepped outside this office and I had access to every apartment complex. Right. With the same skills. So that's what made me step more into real estate, just on the end of apartment locating, and just the freedom. You're just playing the middleman. I don't have to sit in the office and do all of the paperwork. I'm just, making sure the transaction happens. So it's a little more, it's easier. It is. Okay. Maybe the back and forth, like gathering information and finding everything at that moment, it may be a little too much at times, but it beats sitting in the office. Okay. Honestly.
Awesome. Thank you. So you have more freedom. Yes. You make more money than sitting in one office.
And you don't have to deal with the residents directly.
Got it. Okay. Awesome. Thank you so much for that, because now I know what to say when I'm talking to property management people that are also real estate agents.
Yeah,
Okay, great. Thank you so much.
you're welcome.
Okay,
Anyone
Now,
else have any questions?
that's it for me.
oh, I'm sorry, go ahead.
No, that's it for me. Y'all enjoy. I gotta
Okay.
go. Y'all have a good day.
Hi,
You too.
Laverne. Bye,
Thank you. Bye.
Laverne.
Hi, Wendy. Bye, Wendy.
Okay, with your Lux locating, um, is it recommended that you LLC yourself or incorporate yourself? Did you incorporate that, or is it just for like a doing business as a DBA?
It's a DBA. You don't want to put LLC or corporate yourself because you don't want to be liable for taxes on money that you are not making.
Okay.
Texas does have, if your business doesn't make at least $1.3 million, you don't have to pay taxes on it, but that's if you have a good tax preparer that will know that information. But I personally wouldn't LLC or corporate myself. I wouldn't do it.
Okay. Just to know. That's
It's a DBA. And that's only for my branding purposes because I do like have social media, a TikTok and things like that. So it's really for like just branding myself as an apartment locator. And if you follow like different locators on Instagram and things like that, a lot of them do brand themselves individually. Kind of like Smart City Houston and things like that. It's just not like a brokerage that have agents under them. I just use my Lux Locating as just my branding for my apartment locating services.
This is awesome. Thank you.
You're welcome.
All right, any other questions for Bria? Did a phenomenal job, Bria. We sure appreciate it.
Thank you.
Yeah. All right, well, you know,
thank you very much. Very informative.
if y'all think of any questions before I shut it off, just, you know, say something. But definitely want to thank Bria for the gems that she dropped and all the information that she gave. It was definitely everything that I anticipated and more as far as the value. If you all apply what she has taught you today, I guarantee you will make really good money in apartments. And it can definitely be a launching pad. And don't think that it has to be either or. Like it doesn't have to be, oh, you're gonna be really good in apartments or make a lot of money with buyers and sellers. No, it could be both. You could be killing it with apartments and you could be killing it with buyers and sellers. You know, when I was doing real estate, when Larry was in here while you was going, Bria, and he just kept bragging about how much money he made with apartments. He like, yeah, she really knows what she's doing. Like, that's what I used to do. I did all of that. So Larry is definitely an example, as well as myself, that it's a lot of money that can be made with the apartments. I mean, just the numbers that she's talking about, she say 200-300 leads a day, but off of 10 move-ins, you're making 10 grand. Like those numbers are bananas. So, and you don't have to guess, like she gave you the formula. So just implement it. You know, we're going to do our coaching, our one-on-one for you all that are interested in that being a big component of your business. You know, that's something that we can address in our one-on-one coaching, something that we can address in our group coaching. But ultimately, we've provided the information and the knowledge, but if you want that change in your life, it's a couple of things you got to do. You got to take action. You got to take the action. And you have to focus on what you want. And because we get what we focus on. So you do those two things, and then you take the information that Bria just gave you, and it's going to turn into big returns and big dividends for you. Quick reminder, Teresa had a hand up. All right. Go ahead, Teresa.
I was just going to ask, does she give incentives to use her?
Yes. So I give incentives to what's the word I'm looking for? To the leasing agents if they refer someone to me, or if I have like a client. So say I've worked with a client and they refer someone, I do $200 reimbursement to them after moving. So once they move in and I get paid, I'll pay them a $200 referral fee. That's for the leasing agents, and it doesn't have to be $200, you know. You can do like 50, 100, 150, or things like that. So I'll go into leasing office and let them know, like, if you refer someone that wasn't approved here, you'll get like reimbursement once they move in if I can find them a place. And also my clients who I help move in somewhere, I'll let them know, hey, if you have someone, refer them to me and you'll get paid $200 once they move in.
So $200 is the magic number. How'd you come up with that number?
It just sounds good.
Hey, well, clearly it works, right? People be sending you business.
It just sounds good. That's all.
Absolutely. You but do you give rebates to the actual client themselves? Like, if I use you, would you give me money back, or it has to be me referring somebody else to you?
I've probably only did rebate probably to like 3 people, and that's literally only because I knew they was working with another locator and I was trying to like seal the deal. So sometimes you just gotta be creative.
Yeah.
So, you know, it's not something I just throw out. But if I have a client that's like, well, I was talking to this locator, well, you was doing what? Oh, no. So then at that point I start selling myself.
I got you.
So yeah, that just depends. But if I know they're working with somebody else, or I'm throwing everything out the head, I'm calling my friends that have moving companies and saying, can you do a move for this person? I'm throwing in free moves and everything. So it just depends on the client. Anything to get the deal done.
You don't lead with that though, but you
no, I don't know.
You
never throw the tricks out. You let them see, like, talk to them and see where they at. And if it's like, oh, I don't have to do all that to get them to, you know, work with me, that's easy. But then you have these clients that's like, I know what I want. I'll talk to this locator. I'll talk to that locator. Nobody's pleased. Then you like, okay, I got to get a little creative with them.
I got you. That make a lot of sense. Okay, good. But yeah, so great information. You know, she's given us the game. She's offered herself as a resource, giving you guys her phone number and her email address. So take advantage of the resource. Again, reminder, hey, if you want things different, 2 things. You got to be willing to take action. You got to be willing to focus on what you want. And then we're going to do our part to give you what you need. Tomorrow, we're doing the builder field trips, right? You know, and this is kind of like apartments, right? I know Bria talked about how she would visit the complexes and she would build rapport with the leasing agents. It's the same thing with new home communities, right? You should be doing the same thing. You should be going to the communities, building rapport with the sales counselors, because they will do the same things. Like those leasing agents refer Bria clients, those new home sales counselors will refer you business. So you can actually duplicate it. So something that we're implementing starting this week. So starting tomorrow, every week, we're going to be hosting builder field trips. Right now, we have 3 builders that we're building relationship with. DR Horton in Sierra Vista, and Galea Homes is in Sierra Vista, and then Perry Homes is in Pomona. And we're going to be alternating between Sierra Vista and Pomona every other week. Right? So that means every week we're going to be going to a builder complex on Thursdays at 2 o'clock. Margaret's going to be taking the lead on that. She's going to be having a team. You all should, if you're available, you should definitely be taking advantage of going to those communities on a weekly basis. Put yourself out there, be present in those communities, because that technique works. It's something that we used. I used it, Larry used it. And it you can get dividends off of that activity as well. So that's one other option for you all to really put yourself out there and help grow your business. You'll be in the company of senior agents like Margaret, who can definitely tell you what to do and how to approach it. The sales counselors at those builders, they're friends with Brooks and Davis, so it's going to be a warm situation. They want to help you. They want to help grow your business. But again, you got to take action. You got to show up. So that's 2 o'clock. I believe we posted the flyer in the group me. We're going to be posting the flyer in the group me again. Be on the lookout for that. This Saturday, we're doing a pre-home buyer session, right? So you got people out there that's thinking about buying a house. Bria got all the clients in her ADS. She need to be sending them all the pre-home buyer session flyer for those ones that are considering, you know, their next move being to purchase a home. You know, so you all know, for you all that are coaching with me, y'all know whenever we do pre-home buyer week, I'm like, every day you need to be reaching out to 20, 30 people and telling them about this pre-home buyer session. It's in person and it's virtual. Ask them, hey, who do you know that could benefit from this? Right? So you ain't even got to ask that, hey, can you? No, just say, hey, who do you know? Because if they can benefit, they're going to say it. But if it ain't relevant to them, at least it's going to cause them to think about, well, who do they know that they can refer you to? That's another great way to help build your pipeline. So that's going to be on this Saturday, pre-home buyer session. So there are two great things that I really want you all to take advantage of. Going out to the Builder Field Trip this Thursday and every Thursday after. And then the pre-home buyer session this Saturday, take advantage of it. You can definitely build your pipeline utilizing those two techniques, in addition to everything that Bria just said. Build your pipeline as it relates to apartment locating. So with that being said, are there any other questions for Bria or for myself before we sign off? All right, man. Bria, you killed it.
Thank you.
Yeah, you killed it. And David, congratulations, man. Good job, buddy.
Congratulations, David.
You muted.
Congratulations.
David. Look at David talking. Can't nobody hear you. You got to unmute yourself, man. You muted, man. Look, now he acting like he don't know how to use Zoom. Come on, man. Unmute yourself so we can hear what you're saying. Look, I wish I could help. Oh, you know what?
He said he can't figure it out.
He
Click
can't
the
figure it out.
microphone at the bottom with the red line across it.
Yeah, man. Yeah. Look, it's popping out on the screen. You know, sometimes your screen and now you can look like he's trying to be on his phone. I mean, he may be looking on his phone. Well, all right. Well, we know you're appreciative, man. We can see it. So we can see you smiling and that you're appreciative. I'm gonna get Shay's gonna connect with you so we can get the next step taken care of, get you an orientation, get your paperwork filled out and all that other stuff. So welcome to the agent side of things, brother.
Yay.
Absolutely. All right, family. Look, y'all enjoy the rest of y'all Wednesday, man. And I look forward to seeing y'all with the other events that we have going on this week. Y'all have a great one.
Y'all have a great day. Let me know if you have any questions.
Thanks, Bria. Bye.
You're welcome.